Hello. Good Saturday, Sunday. I started to say Saturday afternoon. It's not Saturday. Sunday afternoon. Um, Glad you're here. What I'm doing this afternoon is I'm coming into a painting that I've already been working on in the evenings with on my 300-pound paper. And this is like the third time I've come into it. So often we show the beginning of a painting, but you know, there's a process. There's a beginning, and then as I'm learning to, there's a time when I need to let it dry, then come back in with some additions. And that's always kind of difficult for me, or has been. I'm learning, just like everybody else. I'm just learning this as I go, following everybody's footsteps. But come back into a second and third layer. I started this one with my trees on the right. I was using my Rockwell paints. This is 300-pound paper Hanamulu collection, cold press, and I really enjoy it. I like what I've started, but the question is to come back in and finish, you know, or add to it without overworking it, without wearing it out. I'm kind of thinking in terms of warm colors and fall, even though that's not here yet. But that was kind of the direction I was going in, or trying to. This morning I had started with my Rockwell mineral paints, which are granulating paints, but today I'm coming in with my core. They are a little different in that I'm just going to spread this out. I'm not really liking what I'm doing, so I'm not going to leave those straight lines. I'm going to soften it. The core paints have what we call they kind of whoosh. They run with the water, and it's just kind of fun to watch them. So what I'm going to do here is put my ground line in here so they're grounded and not just coming out of nothing, not into thin air. The second and third layers to me are always kind of a challenge, because you want to build on what you've already done, but you don't want to ruin what you've already done unless it's already beyond help. So that's kind of where I'm at with this right now. These are going to be lighter because they are in the distance. When you do trees, the ones closer to you are going to be darker, and then as you kind of go off into the distance, they will get lighter and smaller, and actually they're supposed to be higher on the horizon. In this case, this horizon line, or this ground line, is going down. So my little trees are actually kind of all on the same plane, which really wasn't what I wanted, but you know, that's what I'm getting. So let's kind of go with that. I am going to add this color to them for this layer anyway. Using my Levinson brush, which is my go-to brush. I must say they're really actually my favorite brushes. I have another brush that I really like that I go to is a little squirrel hair. But I do like my Levinsons. Gonna add a little bit lighter color in here. It's my core paints. They will run. When I did this first layer, I did a lot of light color up in here. So that's where the light was coming from, and then brought it down into here. So I can kind of continue with that vein. It's kind of a warm light. I'm taking this, the original picture for this was something my daughter had taken on a walk in the fall as she was going through a local park. This is kind of dry now. Well, not quite, but almost. I'm gonna add a little bit of greenery up in here, because we kind of have a combination. The nice thing about coming back in with second and third layers, if you're using transparent paints, which these are, you can come back in and add color without really covering up your original color. They're still going to show through when it dries. This is kind of lightened up in here because your watercolor is, oh, I like this tree right here. I like what's happening there. Your watercolor does dry lighter than when you first apply it. You got to keep that in mind. So that's why when you go back in, you'll be like, oh, well, that's not really the color I intended to put there. It probably just dried lighter. And you can always go back in and add the layers. And I like the layers because it kind of gives it a 3D appearance when you come back in with some more layers. And I personally enjoy that. Add some little darks in here to my trees. And then down the hill. I know it's still summer, so we don't have these colors yet, but down here in the south, we actually, believe it or not, we do get, we will get fall colors. It's a nice thing about Georgia. We do get the seasons, they just don't last forever. We'll get some cold, we'll get some fall, we'll get some, right now it's been summer, but it's starting to cool off a little bit. Just a tad, but who knows what'll happen this next week. You never know in the South what you're gonna get. And actually, I think that's kind of been that way all over. I'm gonna add some of this green into these now that they have dried up a little bit. Just add some touches of this green. This is a, I think it says a green gold maybe. I don't know, I can't read my labels very well. Soften these in here just to give it some little more depth. As we take our walk in the park, I have actually painted this particular photograph that my daughter took several times. It's just like one of those that I just really enjoy painting. Each time it's a little different, obviously. And, but it's one that I enjoy painting. And of course, each time I paint it, I'm not looking at the original painting anymore. I'm just improvising, as it were. Just give it a little bit of some suggestion of trees in here. But it's one that I really enjoy, and it's just a lovely walk and a nice park to go to. And my little tip on here can give me some suggestions of branches. What I need to do is remember to stop when I need to stop. I'm good at overworking. I'm gonna let this dry a little bit. I want to add just a touch in here of some suggestions. So one thing I like about my brushes from Tracy Levinson is I can get a nice tip on these brushes and add some detail without having to go to my detail brush. I do have a brush for smaller detail that's actually also from Tracy. It's one of his tiny ones. But this does give me such a nice tip that it's just not always necessary. Soften some of this out to indicate our ground going downhill a little bit. And let me add some of this green in here on the ground. Actually, it's a green gold, so it kind of comes out kind of yellowy, actually. But that was my intention when I started this, was to just kind of have this brightness coming through the trees. So I'm going to add some more of that up in here and let that just kind of shine through. I don't want to lose my ground, but I also want to have some light coming through. And as this dries, you're going to see some more of that. And you know, I think I may just kind of keep these suggested, not really delineated in my picture. Just, whoops. Oh, now it is. Just kind of a suggestion of trees in here. What happens is if you have the shapes, and this is one thing I have learned from watching many people, is that when the shapes are there, the mind's eye will fill in the gap. I'm going to add a little bit more here to indicate some trees. Some more of this pretty fall color. And it won't be long till these colors are coming back. The fall and spring are probably my favorites. I do enjoy that time of year. I like the colors. I like the leaves. I like the temperatures. Just kind of fun. And yes, we like the pumpkin spice, right? Maybe you don't, but we do. Gingerbread and all that kind of good stuff. Okay. Those are going to be my last couple touches here, and then I'm going to leave this alone and let it dry. If you are watching, I appreciate that. Obviously, if you're watching, I don't need to say if you're watching because you're already here watching. I appreciate your viewing, and give me a like or leave a comment or something. Like I said, I'm not selling anything. I'm not representing any company. I'm not a professional. I'm just sharing my journey with anyone who wants to come along. and appreciate you being here. Let me add a little bit of color up in here. If you're interested, I do have a Facebook group called Follow Your Brush for watercolor artists and artists of all type, actually. Anybody who wants to join is welcome. That's all I'm going to do now, but thanks for coming by, and have a great week.